Hello. All right, so I'm in my living room, guys. So I am going to be going live here because I needed a change of scenery. So, all right, so we're going to get started on this. I posted a link to my YouTube video on this that people raved about when I did this. Gosh, let me look. I did this video. It was back in April of 21. All right. I'm going to post it again here in the chat. Okay. Or comments. So you can have it. All right. So I posted it again in the comments. So back then I went live. I just washed my hair. Can you tell? I went live and I was excited to go live about this because it's something, you know, I've known for quite some time. And I realized really quickly that a lot of people did not know about this and that it was very serious. And if I didn't tell people, you all would have been in the same situation that I found myself. And I don't want that to happen. That's why I do what I do. And it's something that I think I should say I pride myself on, is that if something happens in an IEP meeting, I can tell you guys about it. Good, bad, ugly. Okay. You know, just like when the other day, when the, you know, attorney, what was it, 2 weeks ago, I guess, attorney was like, all right, you're asking too many questions that is making us give you too much information. So the meeting's over. Totally normal for them. But the thing is like, we've now handled that, okay, appropriately. So, bottom line, that is important, all right, is you all knowing the good, the bad, the ugly, and the things that happen, and that no advocate out there, you know, just goes into an IEP meeting and it's just easy breezy, no problems whatsoever. You know, the difference I tell parents is, you know, I'm unstoppable. But on top of that, you know, I'm persistent and I know what I'm doing. That's the key thing. All right. It's not about a degree. Don't ever let them tell you that. It's not about who you are. It's not about anything except knowing your shit and being quick. All right. And that's the hard thing to do, which is why I am so freaking excited about my membership launching finally Monday. Not today, Monday, coming up. Okay. And I want it to be different. I hope it's different. I hope you guys love it. It's going to be pretty raw. All right. For about 2-ish weeks, I'm going to give it out pretty much for free, you know, very cheap. Let's just say that. For those who are ready to rock. All right. You're getting a lot of my products. If you go on my website and you see my products, okay, you're getting a lot of them free. Probably the top one, other than my clients already have this, is going to be my first email that I send out to a team. All right, that you guys can edit all up. Okay. On top of that, you're going to get me twice a month. Okay. 3 to 4 hours. And it's where one time a month we're going to straight up content. All right. But content as in what happens in the meeting. All right. So I'll come to the table with, hey, here's a 5-minute video of what I'm doing. You are going to hear me on recording, or I'm going to be sharing my screen, or I'm going to be using a whiteboard and showing you visually, because I don't know about you, but I am visual and I have to touch it sometimes. So that's why you're going to get PDFs. And then I have to hear it, you know, and then if I have questions, I need to be able to ask questions. And I'm also one of those people that, you know, whenever I took a class, maybe some of you can relate, I don't know, but I was always that person that everybody was frustrated with because I always asked questions. You know, they were ready to get the hell out of there. You know, this is when I was younger. They were ready to get the hell out of there. And I always had questions, you know, and they were like, oh my God, you know, so I was like, I always felt awkward and, you know, uncomfortable because I was the one who had all the questions and everybody else wanted to get the hell out of there and had I just shut up and not asked the questions, I wouldn't have gotten the answers that I got, you know? And so that's something that I want you to be able to do and to feel comfortable in doing so. Okay, so let's move on. I want to get to this and then get off. Okay, this is a tip. My name is Raven Woods. I'm the CEO and founder of Autism Mama Rocks IEP, and I help parents like you become the CEO of their IEP meeting. Okay, I am going to teach you the law along the way and how to be very pliable. I think that's a good word for it. And I'm going to teach you how to go in and take charge. A CEO isn't a dictator. Okay. There's someone that goes in, knows how to take charge, and lets people know that this is the way to do things the right way. Okay. This is how it's done for it to make money if it's in business, or for it to win for the child if in the IEP, right? All right. It's a business transaction, however you look at it. An IEP, yes, my friends, your child is a business transaction when it comes to an IEP. Because if you think for 1 second that behind the scenes in administration, it isn't straight up politics, you are kidding yourself and you're going to get hurt. Okay. I feel like, those things that we teach our children of learn from my mistakes. I told my kids, mom made so many mistakes in, my younger years. Even I told people I didn't even grow up till I was in my 30s, and you have to, do that. All right. Learn from my mistakes. All right. Please learn from my mistakes and go and do it better than me. All right. That's what I want for you. I want you to be able to learn from all the mistakes I made. All right. Falling on my face and having to pick myself up and start again. And then keep moving forward. That's what I had to do. And unfortunately, it took a lot of time for me to learn this crazy foreign language of an IEP. And it took a long time for me to get it and to get that. I had to get mean. I had to get nasty. I had to get hateful. And I hated that, but it's what I had to do. And my daughter suffered because I didn't know what I was doing. So with that said, I don't want you all to make that same mistake. Please. So we need you to learn quickly. And the only thing I will tell you is please learn from someone that's going to take you to the next level. Okay? There's a bunch of sweethearts out there. There's a bunch of people that want to truly advocate for their children, that are advocating for other people, but haven't perfected it for their child yet. And I want you to be cautious of that. So no matter what you do, just please be mindful of that. And please be mindful of the success of what people have in regards to their IEP meetings. All right. You want that backup. You want that person who has the backup of successful meetings, that goes up against attorneys, that knows what they're doing, that, just has it together when it comes to that. Does it mean it's instant gratification? Hell no. But does it mean that there's that quick wit that they're going to be able to teach you as well? Yes. All right. So you have got to run with that. All right. Hi, Bill. How are you? So Raven had to come out. And hello, Cot. Thank you so much. Good morning. So excited to have caught you live. You do rock. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. So let's get started. So, a friend of mine messaged me a few minutes ago. Well, she messaged a little bit earlier, and I just wrote her back, and it reminded me of this video that I just posted for you guys. All right. That I did, what did I say? April of 21. So I just posted it. I'm going to post it one more time. You guys have to watch it. Gosh, I look back. I'm like, God, that was like a year ago. I was crazy then too. All right. So go check it out. All right. I just posted it again. And so in that video, all right, I talk about the assessments. All right. So you have your standardized assessment, you have your alternative assessment, and then you have what I call the zero track. All right. And that's what it's called. The IEPs and assessments is your child on the diploma, which is your standardized, the alternative, or what I call the zero track. Okay. You guys have a choice. You have a choice. All right. And that choice is nobody's but yours. For your child, if you're the guardian, grandparent, whoever. All right, it is your choice, nobody else's. This is kind of like one of those things, you know, politics, immunizations, everything else. You know, everybody's got an opinion, right? It's your choice, nobody else's. All right, standardized track. That is when your child is on the diploma track, which makes no sense to me with an IEP. Just being honest, but hear me out here. All right. For those of you who are like, oh, my kid can do it, you know? All right. So here's the deal. If your child is in elementary school and is on the standardized track, but has an IEP, in my 16 years experience, I will tell you, get them off that track. All right. Because they obviously have an IEP for a reason. They're more than likely, not everybody. All right. But they're more than likely not on grade level. And if they're over a year behind, you're not meeting them where they are. All right. So it goes against all thought processes of what we're doing here. Okay. So the point is for the school to not be teaching them algebra when they're still doing addition and subtraction. The point is for them to not have goals and comprehension when they're still figuring out word recognition, right? When they're still figuring out vocabulary, but yet they don't have a vocabulary goal, but they got a comprehension goal. It's totally backwards. Hey, Yasmin, how are you? How does that happen? Don't forget, guys, to share so your name goes into the hat. All right, so I'm doing $50 Amazon cards this month. Okay, that's not what I did last month. This month it's $50 Amazon. So if you share here and go like me on TikTok, post below, liked, shared, your name goes in the hat. All right. So moving forward, they don't need to be on the standardized track until it doesn't matter until high school. Okay. It doesn't matter. It's like everything college doesn't matter other than high school. Okay. So stop worrying that your child's not going to, I talk to parents all the time and, they're the clients that are not for me. It's like one of those things where everybody's got their person, right? And I'm not the advocate for everybody. Okay. But I'm the advocate for people who are willing to go all the way. If that's what it takes. That's not what we want, but if that's what it takes in their mind, they're willing to go all the way. All right. They're not the parent that says, oh, I just really want to, just want my IEP cleaned up and, I want everything okay. And, I just want the stress to go away. If you have a child in elementary school, you just need to digest the fact that you have an IEP career ahead of you and that it's going to be a rough road unless you just okay to them 24/7, do not advocate and are not a pain in their ass. All right. It just doesn't work that way. Now, I will tell you. All right. I have some TikTok comments from even one from a teacher, but then she commented back. She's like, I just can't believe it because she had commented and said, all the things that you talk about. I've never, and she's from New York City, of all places, which is the worst of the worst. I've never heard of like school districts not, providing data. That we always provide data. And in my mind, I'm thinking, I don't know, because at the time I didn't know what state she was from, because she had named like 5 states. And I was like, what? Like, where is she from? We all need to move there, right? Because it happens all the time. And then when she told me she was from New York City, like that just blew my mind, right? My head just flew off, because I'm like, that's the worst of the worst. And you're telling me y'all provide that. So what the thing is, and how I commented was, it's all about the district, not the state. All right. Are there more states that have more districts that are worse than others? Sure. But it's about the district, not the state. It's about the people, not the state. It's about the people behind the scenes, that administration. It's about them. All right. They're the ones who dictate everything. Don't think it's just the teachers. Sure, we got good teachers, bad teachers, just like we got good doctors, bad doctors, good nurses, bad nurses. That's just everything. Good advocates, bad advocates. You know what I mean? Good parents, bad parents, So bottom line, you got good and bad of everything. But when it comes to how schools do things, I always tell my parents, I'm like, it's like I tell you guys too, right? It's like a 2-year-old. We're raising 2-year-olds here. All right. With a 2-year-old, what is it? Well, mine were like terrible 3s, not 2s. So it was like at 2, I was like, no. And, you're like really strict, and you're trying, at least I was, I was trying to be really strict and, let them know that's not what we do. Right. And then as they learn, right, you can kind of tone it back and say, what did mama say? We don't do that. And then they know. Okay. And they walk away because mom said no. And I got put in timeout the last time I did this. 2-year-olds are smart. And so it's one of those things where as they learn, they get better. Same thing with the school district. All right. As they learn, they start doing things the right way. That's it. All right. It's all in how you look at it. It's really about a mindset. It's not always such a negative mindset if you really don't want to look at it that way. I know it sounds that way sometimes when I talk, but really things have been a lot smoother. I work actually really well with attorneys. I like working with them better than sometimes, the directors of special ed, because it's like, with the attorneys, even though that's their client, you skip over that politic bullshit, that I have no tolerance for. And so, because kids aren't politics. And, my child definitely ain't going to fall under that politics. You're going to give her what she needs. And I don't give a shit about anything else. That's just it. I don't know about you guys, but that's my attitude. All right. Take it or leave it, like it or don't. But you're going to give my child what she needs. And I will do whatever I got to do to make sure that happens. I don't care. I'm done with the bullshit when it comes to my child. All right. So did you see how, and it was almost natural. It was natural, how my tone and everything changed when it came to just talking about my child and what I'll put up with and what I won't. It's not something I'll put up with ever again, ever. Because I was put through so much hell. I literally probably have PTSD from everything that I went through. Okay. Which is why I try to prevent that for others, because it's not healthy. It is not healthy what they will put you through and can put you through and have put thousands of parents through. So when people say like, oh, I don't know how that ever happens. Like that never happens in my school district. I'm just like, I do not know what, balloon you are flying on, but it needs to pop and you need to wake up, because that's just not how it works. It's just not, there are not that many children that are illiterate and that, like I posted on TikTok with the 4th grade teacher saying, what is this? All these kids coming to me in 4th grade can't read. And this is gen ed kids, y'all. This is not even special ed. All right. So if you're talking about General education teachers. Here, let me play this for you. It's short.
Okay, so I'm sitting in my classroom.
Can y'all hear it?
I'm actually a little frustrated at the state of education, only because
this is a fourth grade teacher.
Fourth grade teacher, the fact that I have fourth graders who cannot read independently at all is just like, one, what am I supposed to do? Because teachers are not miracle workers. If I'm required to teach fourth grade standards, the fourth grade standards do not include me teaching phonics. Now, I understand RTI, the MTSS process, and different safety nets like that, but doing that for 30 minutes a day is not going to solve the problem. So,
did you guys hear that? 30 minutes a day, fourth grade, reading teacher, which I loved what she had to say. But this is what you guys got to digest. All right. We have special needs children. This is gen ed. 30 minutes a day, fourth grade. They better know how to read. That's not in the curriculum. Digest that for a second. That's what I'm thinking too. All right. Yeah, my daughter has dyslexia too, Charla. So I totally hear you because I did not do that. I had no idea. I didn't even have an idea that she had astigmatism because they didn't communicate with me about, hey, she's struggling to read. She's, skipping words. They didn't tell me that, Charla. I don't know if your daughter had that or your son, but it was horrible, And so I didn't see it at home either because astigmatism is a little different than like not seeing it all. It more causes that blurriness, or those of you who have astigmatism, right? So at least from what I heard and what I've seen on YouTube, I'm not looking through her eyes, and what the doctor said is it's like, blurry and, all these things, and, it can cause issue. But other than that, she has pretty good sight. Other than that, she wears glasses. But as a young little girl, I had no idea that was going on. I had no idea that she had dyslexia until she was much older. And these are the things that schools are now required by law to be evaluating. And if they don't, it's in denial of faith. All right. So let's move on. So we have that standardized track that we were talking about. That's the standardized general, like this fourth grade teacher was talking about, 30 minutes, fourth grade. That's it, of reading. That's it. All right. So we have to be mindful that the standardized diploma is really for a child that does not have deficit. You don't get accommodations with a standardized diploma. All right. With an alternative assessment, you do. So here's the difference. A standardized assessment is on the diploma track. If you are on that track, you can graduate. But they're pushing the kids through. We know that our children, more than likely, we're just talking about elementary school, middle school right now, are probably not on grade level. We've got to focus on them getting to grade level and fight for them to get as close as they can be. And we do everything within our power to make sure that they're learning and progressing and that they're being met where they are so that they have that foundation in order to grow and make progress. If we don't start them from the foundation, like when you jump on a bike, there's a foundation because you sure as hell can't jump on a bike and just ride. You got to learn that foundation of balancing and steering and pedaling all at the same time, multitasking. And what is that? Executive functioning. That's affecting our children. Most children with disabilities, period, have executive functioning deficits and or needs, minor to more severe. Okay. And we have to look at that. Executive functioning is that what? Captain of the ship. The captain of the ship is in charge of that ship getting from point A to point B. What happens between point A and point B and everything that they need to do in order to get from point A to point B is what executive functioning is all about. And that is what they do in school. So starting at base level, which is your what? Present levels. All right. Where are you right now? 150%. Where are you right now? That's why present levels, that's why my next course is the present levels and goals, is because I've yet to see somebody that can truly write rock star present levels. All right. That tells a story. Okay. It needs to tell a story. These are the evaluations. This is the scoring. This is what they meant. This is what they mean. Okay. Meant meaning past tense, meaning current assessments. Okay. Then what do we have? All right. We have this is what we're working on in the classroom. This is where your child is. This is where your child's strengths are. This is what your child cannot do, meaning the need. Okay. This is what I'm doing about it. Okay. And moving on. Then you know exactly where they are. Then you have something to build off of. Okay. All right. So now we have standardized diploma. You know what that is. Alternative assessment. Here's my pickle with the standardized assessment. There's nothing wrong with the standardized assessment. I think that many children with special needs should be on it. But this is what you need to know. And this is where that decision comes in play, where I did this. I did what I call, this is Raven's name for it. All right, there's a standardized track. That is a legalized name. And then there's a alternative assessment track, again, a legalized special education name. And then there's Raven's name. It's called the zero track, which is where parents fill out a piece of paper and say, I do not want my child taking standard or alternative assessments. Signature. That's all you got to do. Zero track. You can't test my child. Okay. Now, there's stipulations there in regards to if your child's present on a testing day, they have to give your child the test, standardized. So make sure they're absent. And if they are on the alternative assessment track, which is fine. My daughter was on the alternative assessment track and she's been on the zero track. Okay. Know that on the alternative assessment track that the school districts will fight to put you on. They'll want to keep your child on the standardized assessment track, which it blows my mind. But bottom line, the alternative assessment track is still the same type of test. It is still a statewide test. Okay. Just because it's alternative, meaning different, think of alternative assessment like modification. Okay. So you have brain fart. You have accommodations. All right. Which are, let me give you X to support you with Y. Okay. Modifications, okay, are I'm going to change it all up. All right. You're in gen ed classroom doing 30 minutes of reading like that teacher said, right? And sorry about that. And then what happens? Nothing, because they're not there. All right. You've got to pay attention to that. If your child is not where they are in the classroom, how are they going to do on that test? Like, why do you want them taking that test? Why do you want to put them through it? I see no point whatsoever. You know? So you have to be mindful. I have my windows open. Sorry about that. So you have to be mindful of that. Okay. You have to focus on what is in the interest of your child. What is it that you really want for them? And what is going to be productive at the moment? Okay. Because no assessment is going to teach them, show them, do anything for them in any freaking way, shape, or form in elementary or middle school. So you making them take that test is really ridiculous. Just being honest. All right. So if they're not on grade level, why give them the test? Because the test doesn't matter. I mean, sometimes those types of assessments are just stupid anyway. I mean, a lot of people think that they should just go away. Um, I'm kind of in the middle, I haven't really thought much about it other than the fact that if a child isn't on grade level, I don't see any productiveness. I look at the outcome. Okay, so the child's not on grade level. They take an assessment that tests where they are on that level, in that grade, or up to that grade. Okay, if they're in fifth grade, up to that grade. All right. And my child's in third grade. So therefore, they're not going to get the scoring that they need to being in fifth grade. So why would I have my child take that test? No reason. So the alternative, the kicker with that is, did you know? All right. Even though it's modified, you need to find out if they're being given, if your child's on the alternative assessment track, make sure, please make sure, ask, put it in writing, have them respond in writing. Please advise, okay, that all my child's accommodations written in his or her IEP are being provided when the alternative assessment is given. Meaning, if your child has in their accommodations that they're to be read to during tests, for just tests or whatever, then that better happen. If it means they need to have a small group during tests, please make sure in your IEPs it has numbers. All right. If it says small group, make sure it says how many. I always like to say 4 and under, including your child. Okay. Make sure, same with prompts. Make sure you have a number, 2 verbal prompts, 1 verbal prompt. Okay. Whatever it is, you have to be able to measure it. All right. And so that's number 1. Make sure that all accommodations are being provided when your child is being given the alternative assessment. That's number 1, because I have found out as of recent that that's not happening a lot. The next thing, oh gosh, guys, post a 1 below if it's your first through third time catching me live. Post a 2 below if you're an oldie but goodie. If you're catching the replay, welcome. Again, post a 1 below if it's your first through third time catching me live. Post a 2 below if you're an oldie but goodie. You guys know what to do. And make sure that you say where you live. What state are you in? Okay? All right. So the next thing you need to know when it comes to the alternative assessment track. You ready for this? They teach, oh, fun, California. They teach outside things to your child required by the state that they don't tell you about. Did you know that? Yep, they do that too. So you want to write an email and you want to say, my child's on the alternative assessment track and I wanted 2 things clarified. Okay. Number 1, the first thing you want clarified is I want to make sure that all of my child's outlined accommodations in his or her IEP are being followed during the alternative assessment when it's being provided. The second thing you want to ask is you want to ask what requirements is the state, whatever state you're in, California, Virginia, Massachusetts, Texas, wherever, what are the requirements requested by the state that the teachers and staff work on with my child that is outside of their goals and outside of what is learned within the classroom? Okay? That is not on their grade level. Okay, let me give you an example. How I found out about my daughter being on the alternative assessment track. Um, I knew she was on that track. I didn't know anything about it at all. I just knew that they had said, well, we're going to put her on the alternative assessment track because, she's not ready for, the diploma track. And of course, I knew that part. So, not knowing, you don't know what you don't know, right? And this was years ago. I said, okay, cool. I didn't know. And so she's on the alternative assessment track. Okay, that's all I knew. And then we have an IEP years later. And she was taught by a BCBA for quite some time. And I remember going over, because I went over goals with them, individually sometimes, and I would ask certain questions. And I said, I don't understand, like, why do you have such little goals when, we're trying to build on the goals that she's learning? And these are really minimal. I don't get it. I was just starting to act. It was right when I was learning and smartening up, right? And I was like learning to ask questions and learning to think outside the box and learning that, okay, how I've been doing this IEP thing ain't working. Not knowing anything ain't working. Quoting law ain't working. I got to figure this out, and being determined, and I'm a Leo. I'm like, damn it. I'm going to figure this out. You know, I just started asking all those 50 freaking million questions. And she said, and she was contracted, by the school. And she said to me, she said, Raven, I can't work on all of the goals I want to work on with Sky and work on the goals that the state is requiring me to work on. Huh? I was like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean the state is requiring you to work on? What does that mean? She's like, well, every month I have to turn in, because she was contracted out, right? And she's like, well, every month I have to turn in what I work on with Sky. I'm going to move my computer. What I work on with Sky regarding the alternative assessment track. And I was like, what does that mean? And she said, well, the state requires the district to turn in the work and, a write-up of what they're working on each month with that child. I was like, what? I was just kind of in shock. Like, how did I not know about this? Right. And she was like, so I can't work on all the goals you want me to work on with her and work on all of the work that the state is requiring, or the district is requiring me to provide to them, because it's what the state is asking for. That's what I'm being told. So, of course, I was like, well, what are you having to, more questions happened, and this is really the beginning of an eye-opener for me. It was one of many, but it was an eye-opener because I just couldn't believe how much I didn't know, and was disgusted at the fact that Sky was the one suffering because of it. So at the time, she was just doing addition and subtraction. The state was requiring them, mind you, again, this is on the alternative assessment track. The state was requiring them to work on multiplication and division and provide to them, because this was required for all children. It wasn't something that like the state just pulled out of their butt. It wasn't a state thing. It was the whole thing and the everything in whole, and how it made all of no sense. How do you even, this is where the frustration comes when it comes to education in general. Like, how do educators, people think when I say educators that I'm just talking about teachers. I'm not. I'm just talking about educators, people who teach in any way, shape, or form, or are in the educational field. I don't get why that even is in the cards as an option. If a child is only on addition and subtraction, why the hell are you working on multiplication and division? And why the hell is the state dumb enough to ask for it and ask for the child to be working on it? Because they want funding? The district wants funding? They don't get much funding for the alternative assessment, which is why if they want some funding, they have to turn this shit in. It's this big clustered mess. And all the technicalities, I don't care. Could care less about it. But what I care about is the fact that if my child's on addition and subtraction, what the hell makes you think working on multiplication and division is going to be productive in any way for you or her? It's a waste of time on your part, and it's stressful for her. And we're not talking about a general education child. We're talking about a child with autism and dyslexia that you're making do addition and subtraction or multiplication and division because the state asked you to. You didn't think to call me, text me, email me, and say, hey, did you know this? Did you know that I'm having to work on addition and or multiplication and division with your child so that this paperwork and documentation can be filled out and sent to the state, even though your child has no clue how to do it? No idea. She's still on addition and subtraction, but hey, we got to send this to the state, so we got to act like we're working on it somehow, some way. So basically, you're taking away from my child working on her goals to satisfy the state. That's what that said to me. And that's when the zero track came about. That is when I established it and created it. Shoot, I should copyright that shit, because the zero track should be the way to go. I mean, I was so livid. You don't even want to know. Because for me, as a mother, things have to make sense. I'm very analytical. I think things through. You know, if things are going to happen, there's got to be a reason, just like with reading. That's why I love behavior and reading. That's my jam. That's where I have extensive training in, other than working with kids for over 2 decades. And I look at it like this, like, you're basically throwing my child in comprehension stages, which is full on reading. That's what comprehension is, not taught. It happens. It like just poof. All of a sudden your child's reading proficiently. Why? Because they were given the foundation. Word recognition equals language knowledge equals reading comprehension. Word recognition, C-A-T. Can you tell me about a cat? Not a picture, a cat. C-A-T, written on a piece of paper. C-A-T. What's that? Cat. Tell me about a cat. If they can tell you all about a cat, all right, guess what? That works. That went to the next level. Language knowledge. Word recognition equals language knowledge. Language knowledge equals what? What is language knowledge? Language knowledge is vocabulary. If you understand what you're reading and you can read, word recognition. So you got to learn how to read those words. You got to know the alphabet and all that. You got to know how to read the words. Then guess what? It moves on to language knowledge. Language knowledge equals vocabulary. If you understand what you're reading, guess what? Comprehension is there. Done deal. You don't learn comprehension. Comprehension comes. There is no stupid product that the school district can buy that is going to teach comprehension. It teaches phonics, phonemic awareness, letter and word recognition, all of the things that constitute reading proficiency, which is comprehension. So when I see on my kiddos and clients IEPs comprehension, and I'm sitting there talking to mom and dad, and there is comprehension with that child's still learning words. I have no idea why we're sitting there with a comprehension goal. So we have to look at these things. We have to be mindful of them. And we don't know what we don't know. But what we do know now is pick what you want. Pick your juice. All right? And run with it. It's your... I'm going to get to your questions. I'm sorry, Charla. Pick what is right for your child. Okay? Because that's what's important. What's right for your child, you and your child. Okay? That's what you have to do. You know it's best, but you need to know the difference. So the standardized is your regular state assessment. But if your child is not on grade level, there's no point in taking that assessment. There's the alternative assessment. All right? And that one is fine, but it's still a state assessment. But you need to know what you need to know, which is your child will be working on things outside of their goals that is not in their scope of ability right at that moment, but it's what the state requests them to do. So basically they're wasting time. All right. I've been to so many IEP meetings in the past 2 years that, and I say last 2 years because of COVID and everything that's been crazy, and how we're fighting for that specially designed instruction, one-to-one instruction for reading or math and all of these things. And they're saying they don't have time for it with your child. But you have time for that other crap to give to the state. You have time to work on that outside stuff that the state requires you to send to them monthly. But you don't have time to do 30 to 60 minutes of specially designed instruction, direct one-to-one instruction, because that child is behind, because that child needs that extra support. You'll argue with us about that, but you'll freely send and do the extra work with the child because the state asks for it. The 0 track is where you will write a letter and you state that you don't want your child assessed, to take the state assessments or to be on the alternative assessment track. And the one thing with the standardized assessment, state assessment track is, you need to not send your child to school that day. All right. And you have to know that that test is given multiple times. So, it's usually a day or two, and then there's a makeup day. So you need to know those days. And then you just don't send your child those days, because if your child's there, they have to give it to them typically. Depends on the state, but typically they do. Okay. So hopefully that helps you guys. Very important to know and understand. And sorry about that glare. But it's just super important for you guys to know, because I didn't. And I don't want you guys to go down that rabbit hole and years later find out that your child's been working on things that they're so not there yet. And you're thinking that they're having their goals worked on, and then you're in IEP meetings realizing that progress is trivial and you're getting frustrated and all of these things, that there's so many things that happen behind the scenes that you don't know. And that is scary. And it was scary for me, thinking all these years, I had no idea that she was being taught things outside her scope of ability at the moment. And that information that I then started requesting them send to me until I took her off the track, because that was one thing they didn't tell me either. Oh, you can take your child off this track. Nope, had to find that out, and that took time. And so it's so important for you guys to just be knowledgeable and then be able to choose whatever it is that you want to do. Okay. All right. So let's go back. I know everybody's at work, so I know you guys are going to be watching the replay. So post your questions below as you have them. And again, post a 1 below if it's your first or third time catching me live. Post a 2 below if you're an oldie but goodie. All right. So need to screen for dyslexia in kindergarten. Did she say it doesn't include phonics? What do you mean, Bill? My son has nonverbal learning disorder that affects vocabulary and reading comprehension. Okay. How old is your child? They need to actually do something with the data after doing assessments for executive functioning, not hide it or omit it from the report. Oh boy, I agree. Very smart. Yes, that happens all the time. Exactly. Contact school psychologist and ask them to be excused, but didn't learn this until this year. He was a junior in high school at the time. It did not hurt him. Good. All right. Okay. So for those of you, let me see. Oh, not the alternative assessment, but great advice. Our district, they have to write goals to the grade level standards for a child to get a high school diploma. Otherwise, the child needs to be on a certificate of completion. Yeah, that's the alternative assessment track. Yeah. So, yeah. So, anyway, guys, just be mindful and ask questions. All right? And you will be good. All right? So there's your IEP tip, Monday IEP tip of the week. Be very mindful of it. Watch the video that I posted in the comments, all right, from April of 2021. All right. And learn as much as you can, because you do have choices and you don't want to be convinced otherwise. You have 3 choices. All right. And none of those choices matter in any way, shape, or form until high school. Okay. So it's a matter of, do you want to put your child through, okay, the assessments when they're not ready. Okay. The other thing that you want to look at is in your letter that I forgot to add is you want to say that you don't want your child working on the work that is required by the state if they're on the alternative assessment. That's why I say go on that 0 assessment track, because, you don't want them working on that work that is where your child is not, just to work on that for no reason other than they have to turn it in to the state saying that they're working on that. All right. Because what it is every child has to be introduced and be given the opportunity to do grade level work. But that doesn't mean that they sit and do grade level work. All right. We have to meet them where they are. So it's real important to understand the difference there. Okay. They have to be introduced to it, but let's not waste time on doing it. All right. Let's work on the goals. Let's work on the things that they need the most in order to get where we want them to be able to do those things that they're working on that they're not ready for yet, to be able to generalize. All right. You can't take away, like one of my pet peeves, you guys know this, is, don't you dare tell me that a nonverbal child doesn't get 3 times a week at minimum at 30 minutes. Don't even come to me with some 15-minute crap. 6 times a grading period is what one of my kids had. Nonverbal, 6 times at 15 minutes. I asked the speech therapist if she was in her right mind when she wrote that recommendation. Because she ain't. She ain't. All right. So, I mean, don't think that things that you ask are just outside the scope of things that you can ask, or are too embarrassing, or are too bold, or are too, oh, I don't want to be rude. It's not about being rude, guys. It's not. It's not about being rude. It's not about being disrespectful. It's not about being personal. This isn't personal. This is about my child, your child, and what is in their interest, their individual needs. What is it that they need? All right. And a lot of that, once we have a come to moment, all right, is outlined in the present levels if they're written right. All right. My neighbor's doing work on their house, so I apologize for the banging. And I'm like, I either go live with this happening or I don't go live at all because they're working on their house. So I'm like, I will just go live while it's happening. So yeah, hopefully that helps you guys. I really hope it does. And I hope that it gives you some insight. If you have questions, message me. I only have 2 spots available to work one-to-one with clients. Yes, they're going fast, I know. But I only have 2. All right. If not, you'll have to get on the waiting list. So you're welcome to message me through WhatsApp. I will post that real quick. Okay, here we go. All right, I just posted it. All right. So I think it like split up or something. The one on Facebook, but YouTube split up. So, but the one on Facebook seemed to post okay. You just download WhatsApp and then you sign up through Facebook or your email. And then I gave you the link to message me. All right. Because we can message or video chat or whatever. And I can figure out what it is that you really need. So hopefully that helps, guys. Let me know if you have questions. I know it's a lot, but this assessment track was bugging me. And it's important to know. It's things that I did not know. And I'm glad you guys do now, because we have to meet our kids where they are, and working on things that is beyond their scope of ability is just not productive for them. Once we work on the things that is meeting them where they are at, and working with them on the I do, you do, we do multisensory approach, not balanced literacy when it comes to reading, then we're going to have a lot more success. Okay. And now it's a matter, especially with reading, and we're going to talk about this in another live, where teachers are having to transfer that balanced literacy approach to even, all right, reading specialists. And there's articles and there's, research and some science that I'm going to be talking about in regards to how several actually, um, made comments, because reading specialists have been doing what they've been doing for a long time. I'm not saying they're not successful at what they're doing. I have no idea. I can't really comment to that because I don't know them. But what I can comment to is that they're really angry because they've been using balanced literacy for so long that now it's like teaching an old dog new tricks. And that's just the facts and the truth of what's happening now with reading is a lot of the newer teachers are taking onto it really well. And a lot of the older teachers are struggling. Not all, of course, are struggling because they're having to make that change. So it's almost like putting one thing to bed and opening up something else. And so that's causing a lot of issues, especially in that reading area and realm of learning. So we're going to be talking about that come very soon. And I'm going to be going live tomorrow, if not Wednesday, with some more solid content. And I will hopefully be posting beforehand to let you know about what time. So make sure you click notifications on the Facebook page or the Facebook group so that you know when I go live. And I know lots of people watch the replay. So make sure you click that so you know I did go live and you can catch that later. So I will talk to you guys soon. Have an awesome rest of your Monday. I know most of you right now, at least it's almost 3 o'clock here, are at work or just had lunch or whatever it is that you did. But bottom line, have a wonderful rest of your Monday. Hi, Linda. How are you? Hello there. Is there any way I can get some? Of course, of course. Message me on WhatsApp or whatever's easier for you. I posted right above the link you just literally download WhatsApp on your app store. And then I gave you the link and everything here to reach me. So you literally download it, you sign up through Facebook or your email, and then you click my link. That's it. And then just say, hey, it's easier for me to contact people there because I rarely check Facebook Messenger because I have Facebook, TikTok, and everything all intertwined, and it's just crazy. You know how it is. So yes, and then we can video talk and stuff like that. So message me. I only have 2 spots left, just so you know. If not, I am starting a waiting list because I have some parents who said, hey, I have an IEP coming up. Can we talk, kind of closer to then? Because you know how come October, November, a lot of IEPs happen as well. So, but yes, I would love to talk with you. And Charlotte, it's been great. I would love to chat with you sometime. You're very knowledgeable. I love that. And I love meeting other moms and dads who have children with dyslexia. Reading is my jam. I love it. I love learning more about it. And it's just awesome. I have 3 years of extensive training in it past my master's, but I'm learning things all the time, so the more you learn, the better you get, right? The more you can then pay it forward. So yeah, hope to talk to many of you guys. And I will hopefully talk to you in a bit, Linda, and we will connect. If you have a meeting tomorrow, then if we're going to work together, then we'll have to cancel that meeting, which is actually a good thing. Okay. So don't worry about it. So I will talk to you in a minute, and to everybody else, have a wonderful Monday. Take care.